Take my winery, please. Gen Z is drinking more wine. Fine wine is still selling very well, and Napa actually did something nice for its winemakers. All that and more on this episode of This Week Uncorked. Well, hello and welcome to episode 79 of This Week Uncorked for Monday, January 19th, 2026. I'm Brett Martin from Cork and Journey, and if you're not familiar with Cork and Journey, we're your number one source for corkage fees, as well as winery reviews, wine reviews, restaurant reviews, regional wine guides, and oh so much more. And now let's get right on into this week's wine news. Over at Wine Searcher, W. Blake Gray, the guy is such a great wine writer. Anyway, he just digs into so many great stories, but he's got a breakdown on the sale of Chateau Ste. Michelle, kind of digging through the information on the quote-unquote sale. It appears that it was just basically dumped off. And he's kind of trying to dig through to figure out exactly what happened, who got it, who owns it. So directly from the article, Chateau Ste. Michelle was the jewel of the wine industry a decade ago, but it was dumped like a cubic zirconia. I don't know, people dump cubic zirconias. Anyway, the Manhattan-based private equity firm that bought them in 2021 handed it off to a family of Washington grape growers. The new owners are the Wyckoff family, and they've been quietly one of the Washington's largest grape growers for more than 40 years. They sold most of their grapes to Chateau Ste. Michelle and also made bulk wine at a facility they own called Coventry Vale in Yakima Valley. And most of that bulk wine, they also sold to Chateau Ste. Michelle. It's just a rumor, he says, so treat it accordingly. But one industry person told him the word on the street is Washington's relatively small and well-connected wine community is that Sycamore, that's the private equity firm, gave the Wyckoff's Chateau Ste. Michelle business and brands solely in exchange for debt forgiveness. Terms of the deal were not disclosed, but the rumor seems plausible because it fits the timeline. So crazy. We talk about basically, wineries are having in trouble and some winemakers are in trouble. And, evidently this private equity firm, for whatever reason, Chateau Ste. Michelle got in big trouble. And if that's true, basically gave it away for servicing debt to their grape grower. Crazy. All right. And moving on from Food and Wine Magazine, Stephanie Gravelese, I'm going to say that's how she pronounces her name, reports that Gen Z's relationship with wine is becoming more intentional. So the article is basically talking that wineries are winning younger drinkers by prioritizing transparency, community, and clear storytelling over prestige cues and traditional tasting room culture. I'm not sure I agree with her, but there are some interesting stats in here. And from the article, according to Nielsen's IQ Generations on Tap Report, Gen Z accounts for just 9% of the wine buying households, and their purchases tend to be deliberate rather than habitual. 56% are pre-planned and only 30% are intended for casual home enjoyment. But participation among Gen Z has started to rebound, and lighter styles are leading the way. According to the Wine Market Council's 2025 U.S. Wine Consumer Benchmark Segmentation Survey, Gen Z's share of wine drinkers climbed from 9 to 14% in the past 2 years, and they are drinking more frequently than before. Look at that. Good news in the wine industry. Who knew? Anyway, so there you go. Gen Zs are starting to buy, we talk about this all the time. Boomers are aging out. Boomers are dying. They're not buying wine anymore. It's starting to go down just because of that reason. But fine wine, and I think the acquisition, the taste of wine, acquiring a taste for wine, maybe as you get a little bit older, we're starting to see that. So Gen Z is aging out, and there you go. In our next story, we're going to head over to the drinks business. Arabella Mileham rounds out the year's top wine auctions. And 2025 had some huge wine auctions. And it really, even though wine sales were down, it was just a massive year for high-end wine sales. From the article, they talk about really the biggest one here, which is the biggest sale of the year goes to the wine sale of legendary collector and billionaire industrialist William Koch Brothers, basically, which took place in New York in June. The sale comprised 1,500 lots, around half of them large format bottles and historic vintages from Bordeaux and Burgundy estates, which have been expected to raise a minimum of $15 million. However, it took in $28.8 million, almost double what it was expected to do. And the highlight was a Methuselah of 1999 Domaine de Romanicanti, which basically sold for an eye-popping $275,000. Would you ever open it? $275,000? No, what's a Methuselah though? So what's a Methuselah? 12 bottles, 10 bottles? I'll have to, someone check me on that. I can't remember what it is. Anyway, and with that, let's wrap up the news by heading over to the Napa Times. This is crazy news. Napa County. So Karina Todorov is reporting that the Napa County supervisors unanimously approved a pilot program to allow vineyard wine tastings without an on-site winery facility beginning January 1st, 2026. So they're doing it now under the new California law, which was Assembly Bill 720. Anyway, the initiative lets licensed wine growers host up to 36 tastings per year for groups of up to 49 people with the fire marshal approval and safety requirements. The pilot runs through mid-2027 and aims to help small producers create visitor experiences while maintaining safety and limiting daily trips. So kind of cool. So maybe you make your wine at a custom crush facility, but you have your own vineyards or you're leasing vineyards or whatever. You now actually could do some really cool tastings out in your vineyards. From the article, Assembly Bill 720, a bill by Assemblyman Chris Rogers, a Democrat from Santa Rosa, go Chris, was signed into law in October with strong support from the wine industry, including the Wine Institute, the California Wine Trade Association. The new law allows a licensed wine grower to apply to California's alcoholic beverage control for an estate tasting event permit to host visitors on vineyard properties without wineries. Very cool. I mean, there's a lot that went into this, and if you read through it and you just start thinking about, my goodness, the laws and the reason why is it 49 people, because that's under fire. There's certain fire regulations that come in and safety regulations. So a lot of little things. This law was well crafted to work with existing laws and hopefully help out some winemakers along the way. So that two or only one kind of bad wine news story for the whole week. Crazy. Who knew? All right, let's get to our wine and winery of the week. All right, we're going to head to, I want to say Mission Viejo, California, to Bellante Family Winery. Shout out to Chuck and Sherry over at Bellante Family Winery. This is a tasting room. Chuck makes all of his own wines up at a custom crush facility up in like Santa Clarita, I want to say, up in that area. Price range for the tastings, $30 or $40. Scenic views, but a lovely tasting rooms, nice charcuterie plates, nice chocolates, so you can kind of go back and forth with new chocolates, charcuteries while you're tasting your wine. When we lived in Southern California, this was kind of a go-to for us all the time. I cannot believe I've never talked about it on the show. But if you happen to be in Southern California, you want a non-pretentious, this is the middle of an industrial park. You kind of go in and super nice tasting room. Not quite like the Wine Ghetto up in Lompoc, but or Lompoc. Is it Poc or Poke? Can't remember. I remember they schooled me on that when I was up there. Kind of like Willamette, damn it. But not quite like that, but kind of a nicer industrial area. Anyway, great wines, reasonable tasting fee, and Chuck is almost always there, and he is one knowledgeable guy. So you start talking to him about wine, man, you're gonna have a good time. Go on for quite a while. Hey, and our wine of the week is Clos 2021 Deus Ex Machina. That is God in the Machine. It's a $150. Basically, Châteauneuf-du-Pape GSM. It is beautiful. It is 60% Grenache, 40% Mourvèdre. Actually, no Syrah, just a straight Grenache Mourvèdre blend. We gave it 96 points. Man, oh man, this is just a beautiful wine. Just a beautiful wine. And you can find it for less than that. I want to say First Bottle had it for less than $100 a bottle, which is how I picked it up. Wine Searcher says the average price is around $150, but you can't find it for less if you look for it. This is got some serious cellar potential as well. And it's drinking really good now, only being 4 years old. But I think you could keep this in your cellar for another 20 years and it'll be fine. Really good wine. Excellent wine. So, and with that, let's move on to our restaurant and Corkage of the week. Recording this a little early in the day, so no wine today. Hey, we're going to head to Mallorca, of all places, a little island off the coast of Spain, and to Born 8, which is in the city of Palma on the island of Mallorca. Kind of a cool little restaurant. It has an inside area, but there is an entire street, like in the center of this boulevard. So you got a street runs down one side, street runs down the other side, and in the center is this beautiful open plaza where a lot of restaurants have outside seating. We were there in July, so it was going pretty well. And just a nice little restaurant. And we gave it 4 stars, reasonably priced. But if you're just walking around town and you're looking for a great place to kind of have a nice glass of wine and enjoy the beautiful weather that you get in Mallorca in the summer and spring, check it out. Born 8 in Palma, Spain. They do not allow corkage fees, but you know who does? Prime 88. So you get Born 8 and Prime 88. Not even remotely related to each other. Prime 88 is in Brooksville, Florida, which is about an hour northeast of Tampa. But they've got a $30 corkage fee. Nice restaurant, great steakhouse. It is literally, this is the craziest steakhouse ever. It is in the middle of nowhere. I don't even know how. The owner just wanted a really nice steakhouse to go to, I guess, something like that, but did well. So anyway, corkage fee, $30, really reasonable. We're checking out if you happen to be in Brooksville, Florida as well. And that is going to wrap up our show for this week. Episode 79 is in the bag. Hey, as always, I'd like you to check out the video down below. It's the interview we did with Ian Cobble recently, and we're taking a look at and check out the Cobbleist, which is his new wine club as well. Please subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on your favorite social media app and your favorite podcast app and all those apps. Until next week, everybody, cheers.